Hello, fellow orchid lovers. So this is going to be my 6-month Cattleya update. These are the large Cattleyas that I have. And then we'll look over here. These are the smaller Cattleyas that I have. As you can plainly see, Cattleyas are my favorite orchid. I find that out of all the orchids, they cross over to waterculture the best. Very frequently, pretty much across the board, every single Cattleya that I have purchased, the roots are terrible. So I take them out of bark or moss or whatever media they're in, and the roots are usually pretty bad shape, some worse than others. So some of them I've had for, the 6 months that I've been growing, and some of them I purchased more recently. But for the most part, they do at some point turn a corner. Some of them still I'm waiting patiently. And some, they're already, showing signs that they're improving. So this one is, I don't know where the tag is. There it is. Okay, bear with me. This is the Memoria Susan Joy Carroll. Now this plant gets orange blooms, so that's why I was interested in it. I do think that orange blooms are gorgeous. It was originally all in one pot. However, I've had repeated trouble hydrating this plant. I've had repeated trouble with the roots, and so I've been kind of playing with it a little bit, and it slowly but surely, I don't know if it's because I'm, constantly playing with it, or if it just was 4 pieces, it has broken into 4 pieces. So it may just be that it was 4 pieces, kind of like little seedlings stuffed into the pot. But needless to say, it is now 4 pieces. So it's in 4 different glasses. I did have it all still together in one pot, and I continued to have trouble hydrating it. So I'm going to try this method. I've only had it in their own individual glasses for a couple of days. So we're going to see how that goes. But I mean, you can see, I've had this plant for probably about 3 months, and there's no real improvement as far as roots are concerned. There's maybe one root somewhere within these 4 different plants, but for me, that's not really progress. And all of my other Cattleyas, pretty much, there's some signs of progress, but this one's just really stubborn. This is now I know what they're called. They're called bag babies. I got this one back in April. I think it was April. Might have been May. Beginning of May. The tag was wrong. I looked it up. I found the right name. And no roots to speak of. I mean, it did have these brown roots here, but I wasn't even certain I was going to be able to save this orchid. And then, lo and behold, probably about a month ago, new growth and new roots. It's just exploding with life. So this orchid has definitely turned a corner, and she's on her way to being just fine. Every time I think that she's grown all the roots she's going to grow, another one pops out. So she is very happy. My method with my Cattleyas is I put water for 2 days. This one has some algae. I got to clean out this glass. I put water for 2 days, and then I let it dry out for 5 days. Unless like we have particularly hot, weather, then I will maybe, halfway through that dry period, just give them a little bit of water. I have throughout the summer and the last month especially been going away a lot. And although I do have someone come and watch my house because I have a lot of animals, so I do have someone that stays, I'm not going to ask them to fuss with my orchids. So the way that I handle that is the Phalaenopsis are pretty much in water all the time, so I don't really have to worry about them. But the other orchids that I do the wet-dry cycle with, I just make sure that the day before I leave is the day that they're getting the last day of their wet cycle. And then the day that I'm leaving, if I can, I try to make that the day I'm actually dumping the water. And then most of my orchids that have the wet dry cycle, they have the glass beads on the bottom. So I empty out the glass, but then I put just a little dollop of water on the very bottom. I mean, just barely there, so that there is still some hydration in the vase while I'm gone. So it's getting like an extra, you know, little boost of moisture so that, you know, I can be gone for a week at a time and I'm not going to come back to dead plants. It seems to be the most ideal situation, and you know, obviously it's not harming them, because I mean, look at that. So like, for instance, with this one, if you can look past the algae, which I'm just noticing now, I'll put just a tiny bit of water right here so that, you know, the roots aren't in the water, but there's still some humidity and moisture in the vase. This orchid I've had for a while as well. This one came to me in 2 pieces. It's doing pretty good. I mean, it's getting some new roots. There goes my finger again. Sorry guys. It's getting some new roots. This is also one of the smaller Cattleyas. Let me take it out and then I can get the tag for you so you can see the name. I should have taken these all out before I started filming. So this is also the same type, and it's a Chai Len Shinsu. So this one, if I'm not mistaken, this is a red flower. But these plants I feel are a little bit far away from blooming size. But you can see all the new roots on this one too. So it's doing good. And let me get this one out of the way. There's this one. I bought this at the same time as the Chai Len. This one is Gladys Ome. Yeah. This is a yellow orchid with like a red center, red lip. And this is my poster child for root growth. She loves it. Even the older roots, which were not in too bad of shape actually. It's one of the few orchids I got. Look how long that root is. That's one of my roots. It's one of the few orchids I got that the roots were not in terrible shape. I mean, they're pitted and ugly looking, but they were still alive when I got her, and now she's just exploding with roots. Again, I think she's a little far off of blooming, but something I did want to share, which I don't know what this is. Let me put it down. I'm sorry about the filming here. I'm trying. Almost dropped it. So that right there, that does not look like a new growth that I've ever seen. Maybe it's just the way that this plant develops new growths, but I've never seen a new growth that looks like that. It's just odd looking. I don't know why it's not focusing. Come on, you stupid camera. There you go. So I don't really know. I don't know what that is. I'm thinking it must be a new growth, but it's just a little weird. So maybe this particular, the BLC, maybe, right, it's BLC? Yeah, BLC. Maybe that's the way the new growths are, and I just don't have any other BLCs, so I'm not familiar, but it doesn't look like a typical new growth. So, anywho, that's my girl. She's doing great. This plant is one of my newest Cattleyas. I showed this a couple months ago. I don't know where the tag is, but this is called an Cleo Lee, and it was 3 plants in one pot, which I wasn't thrilled about, but you know, we'll roll with it. Terrible, horrible, wretched roots, just terrible. Ooh, there she goes. Doing really good with this video. Her pseudobulbs are so desiccated. Like I said, I am keeping the roots even though they're dead. Just took the velamen off, and I'm trying to hydrate the plant that way. I really have no other choice. You know, her newest growth is this one. It does still have eyes, so there is the possibility that this plant could progress, but I'm really not thrilled with the way that this plant came to me. It's not in really great shape, and I'm not happy about that. This is the worst piece, but it's actually got a root going. This piece is, and it's got a new growth, which is wild because this is the smallest piece. It's got a new growth, a new root that's not from the new growth. I don't know. This one, this was a new growth, and it was black when I got it. And my instinct was to throw it out, but then I said, you know what, let me just keep it just in case. And now look, it's a good thing I kept it. This piece also has a new growth. Again, not in great shape as far as roots are concerned. It does have some new roots growing. This new growth is getting bigger every day. That is my growth. That started after I got it. Again, some new roots, but not happy. You know, like the pseudobulbs are so thin. I don't know. I don't think it was a great plant to begin with. Like I said, when I unpotted it, I was not too happy to find that it was several plants shoved into one pot, and the roots were in such bad shape. I mean, there again, this is the newest growth, and it's, oops, sorry. This is the newest growth, and it's getting roots finally. I really don't like shooting at this angle. I know it's better when people are watching like on their laptops and stuff, but it gets so blurry and my fingers always get in the frame, but I'm trying. Maybe I'll learn someday soon. So a couple new roots there. Really kind of disappointed with this plant. Don't think that I was sent a very good plant. But I'm not giving up. That piece that I should have technically thrown out is the one that's actually probably doing the best, so I'm going to keep up with that one. This is Alyssa Nehemi Compton. This also has orange flowers. This piece, when I was unpotting it, kind of fell off of the rest of the plant, but I decided to try to save it even though it doesn't have any roots. As you can see, it's really not that great. However, it does look like it's getting a new growth here. It's kind of hard to tell. It's kind of hard to see, especially because my camera's not focusing, but I don't know if I like the look of it. It seems like it's more brown than green, but you know, keep my eye on it. I'll keep trying and we'll see what happens. If it grows, it grows. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Again, no roots at all, but somehow I am hydrating it. I mean, and obviously not the best possible because the pseudobulb's not too happy and the leaves, it's clearly dehydrated, but it's growing a new growth and hopefully it'll pop out a new root sometime soon, and then maybe I can save this portion as well. The main plant's doing awesome. I gotta put this somewhere that it's not gonna fall over because it's very top heavy. There we go. The main plant's doing awesome. Look at that. New roots everywhere. Look at that. Happy, happy, happy. Again, it didn't have any new roots when I got it. I took the velamen off of the dead roots and left the strings of the old roots in there. That was the only way it was getting hydration. When I water it, I put the water right up to here, so the bottom of the rhizome is just barely sitting in it. And I do 2 days like that. When I go away, again, I put just a touch of water in the bottom when I'm done watering it so that it has some humidity. But I mean, look at those roots. And this one has 3 growths. So you can see one there, and one there. I can't take credit for them. They were just teeny tiny little growths when I got the plant. So that was already in place. But they're continuing to grow and be happy, so I will take credit for that. So that's her. Now my big plants are over here, which they're backlit, so we may have a problem with that. And I will try to adjust accordingly. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 large Cattleyas. This is my Firewings Pegasus. Let me get my coffee out of the way. This is my Firewings Pegasus. This is one of the ones that bloomed for me. It had the pink flowers with like the brighter splashes of pink on the leaves, the petals, I'm sorry. This one I got a lot of blooms out of this one. She came to me with sheaths and spikes and such, so I can't take credit for those. But this is a new growth that's grown since I got it. It's got another new growth growing there. This seems like a very prolific, and then there's another one back there. Seems like a very prolific plant. There's so hard to focus. There's new roots everywhere. I don't know if you can see that. It's a little cumbersome to try to film and hold this plant at the same time. It's hard to focus, and I don't want to hurt any of the new growths, which I feel like I'm grabbing one right now, so let me adjust. So you see all those new roots, little tiny new growth there. So it looks like I'm gonna have 3 new pseudobulbs that are probably gonna bloom. It looks like this one does bloom on every pseudobulb, so I should have some more flowers. So that's exciting to look forward to. So that's the Fire Wings Pegasus. This is the other one that has bloomed for me. This is the Betty Ford York, and this did come with a sheath. This was the sheath. It has since bloomed and gone. I got 2 beautiful, huge flowers from this. It has a new growth right here, which, yes, that is damage from that darn cat. Let me see if I can push it back and maybe take it out of its pot so I can show you how it's doing. So you can see a bunch of new roots everywhere. Very happy, happy, happy plant. It's got a new growth. Yeah. This is a new growth. Come on. This is a new growth. This is a new growth. New roots from the new growths. So it's doing good. So possibly, you know, 1, 2 new growths that might bloom, you know, when they reach maturity. So that's that one. That one back. Don't knock anything over. Easier said than done. Okay, this is one of my newer Cattleyas. I've had this one for approximately 2.5 months. This is, tags right here. Aida Elizabeth Enchanting. So this is a white orchid with purple like stripes and tips to the petals and sepals. So it has 1 new growth here that has a little sheath coming. It has another new growth here with a sheath coming. And then it has another new growth there with a sheath coming. I don't know if these sheaths are going to bloom. I have no idea. I haven't had this orchid bloom. So far there are no shadows in the sheaths, but the new growth is not quite advanced enough for a shadow, I don't believe. This one, it kind of is wrinkled, and I don't know, that may affect whether or not I'm going to get a sheath with this one. But it's too early really to tell. Again, new roots. This one, the roots are in pretty good shape, this orchid. I mean, there were a lot that I had to get rid of, but for the most part, there were a lot of roots in good shape, so I didn't have a problem really hydrating this plant from the beginning, and now it's growing new roots. Probably in the past like week or 2, it's finally popping out some new roots. So again, takes time, but it does happen. This is my, oh, which one is this now? This is the Hauserman's Holiday. This has not bloomed for me. This is the one that got the worst damage from my cat. This one struggled. I got it. The roots seemed to be in good shape, but it actually turns out that they were in the worst shape. They just were not happy. So they've been like this for months, and it's been really hard to hydrate the plant because there's so little, and I don't want to soak the rhizomes. But now look, finally some new roots are coming out. So I've had this orchid probably about 5 months with no new roots, struggling to hydrate the plant, and now finally new roots and new growths. So that's a new growth right there. This is a new growth right here, and new roots on this section too. So patience, really. I emphasize patience because you think I'm doing something wrong, it's not working out, it's been 5 months, no roots, and finally it's happening. So some just take longer, and you know, as long as the plant isn't dead, keep trying. So that's that one. I'm not going to try to put them both in there with just one hand. I'm going to break something and I don't want to do it. And then this one, in my last video, I showed that some of the pseudobulbs had started rotting, which I did eventually just throw them out because it just wasn't worth struggling with them and I didn't think they were going to work out. But since then, look at this. Some beautiful new roots are starting. So, and this one I've only had for 2 months and it's starting to get new roots. So again, this one, it had problems, but it's progressing in water culture faster than that one that I've had for 5 months. So again, each plant is different. They kind of adjust to water culture different. So again, please be patient. Don't think because you're not seeing the amazing root growth that other YouTubers are getting that you're never going to get it. It just may take time. You know, as long as the plant is not dead, there is still hope. So just keep trying. Yeah, so that's the way that I grow my Cattleyas. That's my update. They're all doing really good. I have some new growths on a lot of them, some sheaths on some others. So I'm looking forward to that. If you have any questions or feedback, please let me know. Otherwise, I will talk to you next time.